In the year 1949, there is a big fuss about a man called Bruno Groening, who is known in the media as the miracle healer. It all starts in Herford, a small town in Westphalia. There are continual reports about new, unbelievable healings. Even people diagnosed as incurable swear by his healing power. Some call him a messiah, others a charlatan. One of those seeking healing was Georg Nowak. He had suffered for 4 years from continual headaches. Neither treatment by a neurologist nor months in the hospital had brought him lasting relief. He was regarded as incurable.
Wahnsinnige Kopfschmerzen, Tag und Nacht. Die hörten überhaupt nicht auf.
Terrible headaches, day and night, they just never stopped. They affected me so much that I couldn't even walk straight. And then my colleague said to me, "Boy, that Gröning is here, a sort of miracle healer. Go and give him a try."
Da sag ich, ach, sag ich, Mensch, wenn ein Arzt nicht helfen kann.
Then I said, if a doctor in that big hospital in Hanover can't help me, why should I go to Gröning? That's ridiculous. I'm not going to go. Oh, but there are thousands of people. It's swarming with people. The place is overflowing. Just go. You don't have to be embarrassed. Just go.
Ich war junges Mädchen, 18 Jahre alt.
I was a young girl, 18 years old, and I always had back pain. Actually, I'd had back pain since I was a little girl, and it got worse because I had a profession where I had to stand up.
Eben einen stehenden Beruf ausgeübt habe. Und
I
ich
heard about Bruno Groening, and I thought to myself, go and see for yourself.
Jetzt überzeugst du dich mal selbst. Und hab da gestanden und hab gedacht,
I stood there and thought, all right, Bruno Groening, if you're such a great healer, then help me. I want to get rid of my back pain. And I thought of nothing else.
Schmerzen loswerden. Und nichts anderes gedacht.
Und hörte ich ihn von Weitem sprechen.
Then I heard him speaking from afar, but I didn't understand the words. I couldn't hear them. But inside me, something was going on. I noticed that at that moment I thought, he can indeed help you.
In dem Moment dachte ich, kann wohl doch helfen.
Wie ein Strom.
It was like a current. I noticed it down to my little toe. It ran through my body like a current.
Plötzlich ging es im Kopf los.
Suddenly in my head it was like when a stocking snags and a stitch runs down. That's how it was in my spine. 2 runs down into my legs, and then my arms and fingers. And after that, I was relieved and said to myself, man, you feel so good now.
Mensch, du fühlst dich so wohl.
Und bin dann nach einer guten halben Stunde weggefahren. Zurück wieder nach Bad
And then after a good half hour, I rode my bicycle back to Bad Oeynhausen, which is a good 12 miles away, and then further on to my home, which is quite a way more, and my back pain was gone.
Und meine Rückenschmerzen waren weg.
Da bin ich losgelaufen und habe Bocksprünge gemacht.
Then I started walking and jumped for joy, as they used to say. And I repeated, I'm healed, you know? And it was all gone. And I sang and I said, man, it's so great. You've never had it so good, so wonderful.
Sowas hast du noch nicht gehabt, so schön.
And when I approached my waiting colleagues, they asked, well, what was it like? What happened to you? When I said, I'm healed and I don't have headaches anymore, they didn't believe me. And I reminded them, you were the ones who insisted that I go to see him. It's really true. You can believe me, it's true. After that, they asked me every day, have you had any headaches yet? I told them no. They also noticed that when I bent over, I didn't break out in a sweat anymore. That's right, the symptoms were gone. And since then, I haven't had any more headaches. I'm 80 years old now and still haven't had any.
Und immer noch nicht.
Und kam nach Hause. Und da saß mein Vater und mein erster...
I got home, and my father was sitting there with my first husband. I already had a close relationship with him back then. They were playing chess. And my mother came running in because, of course, I hadn't come home at the usual time, but rather a little later. Back then, people didn't have a telephone or anything. And I was excited. They could sense it. My mother said, you were glowing when you came in. Looking back, naturally, we talked about it.
Im Nachhinein haben wir uns natürlich darüber unterhalten. Und ich habe dann zu ihr gesagt, es ist also was ganz Wunderbares passiert. Und alle 3 schauten mich nur an und ich
I
erzählte...
told her, something really wonderful has happened.